Good evening and welcome to the Monday, February 17th meeting of the Hoover City Council. I would like to call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Council President Lyda.
Here.
Council Pro Tem Posey.
Here.
Councilmember Sweeney.
Here.
Councilmember Driver. Here. Councilmember Murphy. Councilmember Middlebrooks.
Here.
Councilmember McClinton.
Here.
With a quorum present, we will proceed. If everyone would please rise for the invocation to be led by our clerk and remain standing for the pledge to be led by several Boy Scouts. I know we were joined tonight by Boy Scout Troop 28, but there are also some other scouts here, so we would ask for a combined effort from each of those. If you would come forward at the end of the prayer and introduce yourselves, tell which troop you're from, and then lead us in a pledge, we would appreciate that. Madam Clerk. Scouts, if you'd like to come down. Each of you gentlemen would introduce yourselves.
I'm Jason Goody from Troop 28. I'm Miles Armstrong from Troop 28. I'm Lucas Ware from Troop 28. I'm Ty Sweat from Troop 23.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Each of these young men are here working on their citizenship and the community badge, and I know several of them will be meeting with Mayor Brocato and me at the conclusion of this meeting. Would you join me in welcoming them to the Hoover City Council? Thank you all. Thank you very much. We'll now move to our reports, and I know the mayor has some proclamations and special recognitions he'd like to handle.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate it. We are at a point in our meeting where we like to recognize individuals that have served a good bit of time here. Tonight we have Park Maintenance Supervisor Timothy Mittelstadt with his wife Rebecca, and they would come down if they would like to come down, and his young son is here as well. Tim was hired in 2005 and came to us from the golf course industry. Tim began his career here as a laborer and was promoted to horticulturist on April 5th, 2009. He was later promoted to the position of horticulturist specialist senior on October the 4th, 2022. And then in November 26th of 2023, Tim was promoted to park maintenance supervisor and is currently the supervisor of the East Sports Park. Tim graduated from the University of Missouri, where he played defensive end for the football team in 1996 and 97. He was added to the Big 12 All-Academic team. Outstanding. Tim was one of our department favorites. We're so proud of the things that go on in our park and rec, particularly in our park maintenance department. That's why we've got outstanding. When you go to our parks, they're clean, they're well taken care of, they're landscaped beautifully. And it's a great opportunity for our kids and our families and folks coming from all over the country that play in our sports parks, to see what a great job we do. And it's because of individuals like Tim that are so dedicated to this job and want to make sure that it's right. So we're grateful for what you have done with the city of Hoover, and we appreciate the 20 years that you have been here, and we hope you'll stay a whole lot longer. Thank you so much. And we would like to read a proclamation tonight, and that is going to be directed at the outstanding organization called Hoover Helps. We all know it in our community, and what they do for us is really remarkable. We're proud of them. I think that the proclamation itself will detail all of the wonderful things that they do. And I would ask Greg and Donna Bishop, the founders, to come up, Debbie Marr, board member, and Jennifer Pate, if they would come up to the front, and we will have our city attorney read this wonderful proclamation. So you want to say anything? Okay. Mr. City Attorney, you would please read the proclamation.
Whereas Hoover Helps was founded on February 23rd, 2015, with the mission to help meet the basic needs of children in Hoover, Alabama. And whereas Hoover Helps has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the well-being of local children by partnering with faith-based organizations, school counselors, teachers, city leaders, firefighters, and volunteers to provide essential resources and support. And whereas in collaboration with Neighborhood Bridges and through the generosity of church partners, Hoover Helps has delivered over $1.5 million in direct aid to children and families in need, including nearly $1 million worth of food. Whereas due to the dedication and generosity of faith-based organizations, over 500 local children receive food each week, ensuring they have the nourishment necessary for their health and success. Whereas Hoover Helps has been instrumental in supporting initiatives such as Meals in Motion Food Bus and other efforts to assist children and families during the challenges of the pandemic, further demonstrating its commitment to the community. And whereas the work of Hoover Helps embodies the spirit of compassion, service, and community partnership, making a meaningful difference in the lives of children and families throughout Hoover. Now, therefore, we, Frank V. Brocato, Mayor, and John B. Lyda, City Council President, and on behalf of the residents of the City of Hoover and the Hoover City Council, do hereby recognize and commend Hoover Helps for its outstanding service and dedication to supporting our city's underserved youth. We encourage the citizens and businesses of Hoover to support this vital organization and its mission to ensure no child in Hoover goes without basic necessities.
And next, another wonderful organization, Neighborhood Bridges Hoover. I would ask Anna Chatterton, Nicole Celestra, David Bannister, Chief Derzis, Chief Bentley, and Mayor Frank Brocato. They have my name on there. How about that? Okay. Well, this too is another fantastic organization. David, I think, weren't we like the first ones to?
Yes, sir. I'll have a few.
I thought you would have a few comments, but it really is a remarkable organization that, again, reaches out to folks in our community that are underserved and need, and they do it in a way that's does not expose anyone to identity, and it helps folks, and it's just really a remarkable program. And again, I believe that it will be detailed nicely in the proclamation, and I think that David will have a few words afterwards as well. So, Mr. City Attorney, if you would, please read that proclamation.
Whereas Neighborhood Bridges Hoover was founded 6 years ago in February at the state capitol, whereby Governor Kay Ivey signed a resolution of kindness to charter neighborhood bridges in Alabama and started it in our first school district of the Hoover City Schools. And whereas Hoover Mayor Frank Brocato assisted in volunteering city fire stations as drop-off points for donations, and Hoover City Schools Superintendent Kathy Murphy named Neighborhood Bridges Hoover the kindness portal for the 13,700 Hoover City Schools children and their families. And whereas Neighborhood Bridges Hoover is administered by the Hoover City Schools counselors and school resource officers, those requests for kindness are then filtered out to over 3,000 community email members and over 12,000 social media followers to buy, donate, or give to the kindness request via the online portal. And whereas Neighborhood Bridges Hoover fills over 3,500 annual requests ranging from clothes, eyewear, lunch money, field trip money, participation fees, medical care, hygiene needs, work clothes, school supplies, and more. Neighborhood Bridges Hoover are all volunteers, so all monies, donations, and needs received are 100% impact to recipients. And whereas David Bannister, along with Steve McClinton, David Cohen, Hoover Helps, Debbie Marr, Janet Turner, Clay Bentley, Kathy Murphy, and Frank V. Brocato were all founding members of Neighborhood Bridges Hoover, thank you. And whereas Neighborhood Bridges is now in over 30 Alabama school communities because of Neighborhood Bridges Hoover and its success. Thank you, Hoover, for the over $1 million in direct kindness, and here's to serving more kids and families. Now, therefore, we, Frank V. Brocato, Mayor, and John B. Lyda, City Council President, and on behalf of the residents of the City of Hoover and the Hoover City Council, do hereby recognize and commend Neighborhood Bridges Hoover on over 6 years of service to the children and families of Hoover, and thank you for your dedication to the communities.
You and Anna would stay here. If I may just say a few words, I want to recognize a few of the people that were up here. Neighborhood Bridges was started because of Greg and Donna Bishop. I was in Leadership Hoover, and we had Philanthropy Day, and I met them and learned more about Hoover Helps and asked them how I could help Hoover Helps. And they said, well, actually, there is something you could do. So we waited all of about 9 days into our Leadership Hoover regime and started Neighborhood Bridges. And the mayor went into motion immediately, got us a meeting with Governor Kay Ivey. We were immediately received at AEA headquarters by Dr. Eric, and it was universally proclaimed in the state of Alabama for kindness, and Hoover led the way. It is now in the Gulf Coast, it's in Tuscaloosa, it's in Auburn, it's in North Alabama, it's in Oneonta, Etowah, it's all over the state. So kindness is permeated all over the state. And I'd like to thank Steve and the mayor and Chief Bentley and Chief Derzis for stepping forward. This is a very unique charity. These folks that are behind me, Greg and Donna and Nicole and Anna, all serve along with me at the pay scale of 0. It's a complete volunteer-based organization that the city of Hoover and their people can be very proud of, because 100%, not 99, not 95, not 85, 100% of all giving goes directly to impact the Hoover City School kids and their families. So people say, gosh, you have a lot of people that donate and give to you. It's because they know that the 47 school counselors in our 17 schools and the 24 SRO officers are making those requests. So the only people that can make requests for these items are the ones that know those in need the most. And as the mayor said, it's all done with complete privacy. We never know who we're helping. We never know who it's donated to. It goes to Chief Bentley in the fire station. The firemen deliver it to the schools. The counselor and the SRO officers work with the affected children and families, and the kindness is met. And I know many of you in City Council, John, Kurt, Steve, Casey, Sam, Christie, I'm not going to out everyone, but I've seen all of you on the donations list. The mayor's a frequent donator. We really appreciate it. This has really been a citywide effort, but I'd like to recognize Nicole and Anna. They're our area directors. I get to be the lead person here, and they get to do all the work behind me. So without great people in your organization, you don't have a great organization. So Nicole and Anna, thank you. And lastly, I would like to say thank you to the mayor for making this a big initiative for you. You pushed this very quickly. You made it happen. We went to the State House. It was a whirlwind day. We met everybody. We shook everybody's hand, and it got going. And there's a lot of things I'm proud of that I've been a part of this city, but nothing more than this initiative. And I want to thank everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are two wonderful organizations, no doubt. And we're grateful they're in our city. This is Be Kind Week and Pink Shirt Day. I see one. We may have to get you to stand up here. Two, I see two. So Be Kind Week, we'd love for Katherine Stewart, Terry Coleman, Merrick Wilson, Greg and Donna Bishop, Amanda Borden, Kelly Peoples. Catherine's with the Hoover City Schools. Terry is with Hoover City Schools. Merrick is with Hoover City Schools. Greg and Donna with Hoover Helps. Amanda's our Hoover Public Librarian. And Kelly Peoples is with the City of Hoover. And we are excited about Be Kind Week and Pink Shirt Day. So, Mr. City Attorney, would you please, who's going to be the city attorney, if you would read that.
Whereas the City of Hoover recognizes that any day, week, or month is a good time to remind all of us of the need to remember that respect, dignity, compassion, and humility are four essential ingredients in the creation and maintenance of a civilized society. And whereas in the heart of all of us lies the idea that we hold the power of kindness within us. And whereas by knowing and understanding and actually using this power, we have the ability to send out a positive ripple that may travel for many miles. And whereas no one, no matter how young or small, is too little to make a difference in our community and world. And whereas through acts of kindness, we can promote healthy behaviors and positive dynamics within our schools and our community. Whereas we seek to stand up to bullying in our schools, workplaces, and community. And whereas we seek to cultivate caring, kindness, and compassion within our schools and community through our youth by teaching them that kindness is the mark you leave on the world. Now, therefore, we, Frank V. Brocato, Mayor, and John B. Lyda, City Council President, and on behalf of the residents of the City of Hoover and the Hoover City Council, do hereby encourage the citizens of Hoover to join us in observing the week of February 24th through 28th as Be Kind Week and February 26, 2025 as Pink Shirt Day in Hoover, Alabama.
So I'm just going to take a few moments of your time to tell you a little bit about Be Kind Week and Pink Shirt Day, and the story of how it all got started. Pink Shirt Day was an event that began in Canada in 2007 after two 12th grade students bought and distributed 50 pink shirts after a 9th grade student was bullied for wearing a pink shirt during the first day of high school. Since then, Pink Shirt Day continues to be an annual event to promote anti-bullying. In 2017, Hoover City Schools began their Be Kind initiative to coincide with Pink Shirt Day on the Wednesday of that week. We are blessed with a district and a community that joins us in promoting kindness including the City of Hoover, Hoover Public Library, Hoover Area Commerce, Hoover School Foundations, and Hoover Helps. This year, Be Kind Week is, as previously stated, February 24th through the 28th, with Pink Shirt Day on the 26th. Our theme this year is Kind People Are the Best Kind of People, and our service project is stocking the counselor closet by bringing a snack to share with school friends. During Be Kind Week, let us remember the immense power of kindness to uplift and unite us all. Small acts of kindness can create ripples of positivity that spread far and wide, making our schools and communities stronger and more compassionate. Whether it is a simple smile, a helping hand, a kind word, or a thoughtful gesture, let's each strive to make kindness a priority every single day. Together, we can build a world where empathy and understanding flourish, one kind deed at a time. So please join us on February 26th by wearing a pink shirt.
Thank you so much. That's all, sir.
Very good. I'd like to invite Chief Derzis down. I know he has some special recognition of our police explorers.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As we celebrate President's Day, we take a moment to reflect on the history of our nation and the leaders that helped shape it. I want to thank our Explorer advisors who are focused on equipping future law enforcement officers with the skills and knowledge to navigate tomorrow's problems. They're leading the charge and doing it well, and you'll find out what they're doing in just a few minutes. I would like now to ask the advisors, I'll call your name if you'll please come up front. Officer Jackson, Officer Newsom, Officer Oswalt, Officer Lee, Officer Graham. Stand up out front if you would. Okay, gotcha. Some are tied up right now, sorry. And I want to thank them for the time and effort that you guys are putting in to lead in this group. We've got several Hoover Explorers here that I'll call. I've also got some names of some parents. So when I call your name, the Explorer, please come up front. And if you're a parent, if you will stand so we can recognize you. And if I don't have your name and you're a parent or a friend, please stand. We'll start with Brooks Boyd. Mom Sherry's here. Brooks, if you come forward. Sherry, there you are. Thank you. Elijah Ferguson. Mom Samantha's here. I was told. Okay, thank you. Michael Mathers. Parents Brad and Amy. Thank you, guys. Hudson McClinton, parents Steve and Stephanie. Jason McGee, Dad Mickey. Rob Morse, parents Bobby and Emily. Desleen Ortez, Mom Penelope. Thank you. Greg Powell. Molly Rowland. And as you can see, Molly here, been an explorer for several years, and recently we hired her as a detention officer. Congratulations. Braden Taylor, Brad and Amy. Rashad Williams. And Jaden Wilson, Mom Cleo. These individuals competed in the state competition at the University of Montevallo, January 25th and 26th. There were 7 other Explorer posts from across the state. Team A, Elijah Ferguson, Rob Morris, Rashad Williams. I want you 3 guys to just stand out front for 1 second. They took first place in crime scene investigation, first place response to active threat, first place DUI traffic stops, first place burglary in progress, and first place in response to disturbance. So I think we a little applause. Thank you, guys. Team C, Greg Powell, Jaden Wilson, Braden Taylor, and Jalise Ortez. If you'll step out front. They took third place in crime scene investigation. Thank you, guys. The group and advisors went to Winterfest 2025, which are the regionals in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, February 6th through the 9th of this month. There were 43 posts from Florida, Mississippi, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and New York. Team A, Elijah Ferguson, Molly Rowland, Rashad Williams, Rob Morse. If you'll come out front. Out of the 43 posts, they took first place in the DUI investigation. Congratulations. Team B, Jane Wilson, Braden Taylor, Michael Mathers, Greg Powell. Just step up front. They took second place in burglary in progress. Thank you, guys. Team C, Elijah Ferguson, Molly Rowland, Rob Morris, Michael Mathers, Jane Wilson, Hudson McClinton. First place, uniform inspection. Great work, guys. Yeah. Again, want to thank the mayor and the council for being very supportive of our Explorer Post. As you can see, I think as we look at some of these folks up here, we certainly see future Hoover police officers and leaders of tomorrow. So thank you, guys. And to the parents, we certainly appreciate the allowing your children to come with us, especially on these regionals and state competition. And we hope that they're receiving as much out of what we're getting out of them. So thank you, guys.
Parents are welcome to come up and we'll take as much time as you'd like.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2.
We failed to get a picture with our scouts, so could I ask those scouts to come back and let's get a picture with you, please, if you wouldn't mind, gentlemen. Miss Melanie, will you help us with a picture then? Now I'd like to call on Miss Cornett. I believe she has a financial update for us.
Yes, I understand brevity is in order. Wendy, would you mind putting the PowerPoint up? So the goal tonight is to look at our annual revenues that we've had year on year, and also to get an update for the current year. So if you'll go to the next slide, this is a very busy slide, okay, with lots of numbers on it. But the goal here is really just to illustrate how our revenues have trended from year to year, and how they have changed. As you can tell, in the very tiny print, when we look at sales and use tax and SSUT, which is our online sales tax from online sales, our income, the city's income, is 65 to 70% of the city's income is derived from that. So we are very dependent on consumer buying patterns there. As you look at this, you can see that for sales and use tax, we did have a bit of an increase in total from 22 to 23. That increase as a percentage was 3.3%. But when we look at that from 23 to 24, it was less than 1%, so 0.26%. On the next slide, which is probably a little bit easier on the eyes, is a graph that shows our sales and use tax year to year. So you can see that change a little bit more clearly. I think that's certainly much better than a slide with lots and lots of numbers on it. But again, marginally, you can see from 2023 to 2024, sales and use tax did not grow that much, 0.26% from 23 to 24. On the next slide, that is our real property tax. That is probably the number 2 in terms of size of revenues for the city. That is based on assessed values, so we do expect it to go increase every year. The increase from 22 to 23 as a percentage was around 7%, and from 23 to 24, almost 11% increase in real property tax collections. And then the last slide, looking at the year on year, this is the third largest category of revenues for the city. Again, our license and permits, those are all bunched together, so all the licenses and permits for the city. But you can see that those have had a steady increase, 14% increase from 22 to 23, and then 2.6% increase from 23 to 24. On the very next slide are some data related to our current year trends. So the most recent information that the city has is our January property tax collections, and these would be collections related to December sales. Okay, that's really important because it's the holiday season and that's when people spend money. And right now, at least for 2025, you can see that sales tax and SSUT combined are 57% of the city's intake of revenue so far this year. But that is really skewed by the fact that our real property taxes and then our license fees tend to come in December, January, and February very heavily. So I expect that to kind of get more in line with the previous years, between 65 and 70% of our total revenues. Very quickly on the next slide, you can see the last 4 years for the first 4 months of this year. So you can see the trends that we see with sales and use tax, and you can just see very little variability, right, from 2022 to 2025 on a month-by-month basis. On the next slide, same thing is prepared for SSUT. We have seen an uptick in SSUT. So SSUT, again, is the online sales tax that the city is allocated from the state. We get a smaller proportional share of sales tax as people's consumer buying patterns shift to online. So that's one of the challenges we're seeing SSUT grow while our brick and mortar sales tax collections are declining. And then that last slide there, real property tax trends. And as expected, we would think that in January we would see a lot of real property tax collections, and we did. Probably we'll see a little bit more in February, and would expect those to kind of level off, with those being the most heavy months of tax collections for those. And I think that's, oh, I have one more slide for licenses and permits, just for grins. I thought I would go ahead and include this. This is the fourth category in terms of magnitude of our revenues. And again, our license and permits generally renew at the beginning of the year, and December 31st is when they're due, and people have until January 31st to pay. And so January usually is a very high month for those renewals as well. And that's it.
Any comments for Ms. Cornett?
Mr. President, just
Yes,
one
sir.
quick question. Go back to the SSUT taxes, please. Can you explain the $0 amount for December 2023?
For January of 2023?
Sure, January.
I
yes,
cannot
sorry.
explain it. We received a 0 allocation actually in January of 2023 from the state. We are not in the driver's seat as far as being able to fact check what we get from the state. The state tells us what the collections are, and then divvies those out. So I don't know why there was a 0 in January. But we aren't in a position to go back to the state and tell them, hey, you gave us 0, why? Because we have no information to be able to trace that back to them. We're trying to crack their black box of how they make those calculations, but that's why they're 0. And it is a glaring 0, it sticks out, so good eye.
Any other comments?
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at the data here. We're fairly flat as far as revenue. Do you see that continuing on since January, for everybody watching, is when we get our Christmas season receipts? Do you see that continuing on for the rest of the year and into 26?
Yeah, the forecast kind of statewide is, and all the bigger cities in the state are forecasting very leveling off of sales taxes. There's some markets that are different. For instance, City of Auburn is having a great time with sales tax, but they have had some additional developments and retail establishments that have just come online for that city, and so they are a little bit of an aberration. But the rest of the larger cities in the state are forecasting, are noticing the leveling off of those revenues. And again, having such a high concentration in sales tax, not every city does have such a high concentration of revenues in sales tax, but it does make you especially susceptible to people's spending and how they feel about the economy. So I'm hoping that people will begin to feel better about the economy and spend more money. And I guess this is the time to also ask you to shop local, because that makes a big difference in the coffers of the cities when you do that.
Ms. Cornett, is the lodging tax also included in the sales tax, or is that separate?
It's separate, and it does not rank as high in terms of magnitude, but if you look at the really busy chart, you'll see that lodging has its own. I think we are usually around 2.3, 2.4 million total in lodging tax that gets collected year to year.
Is the lodging tax, does that also include the bed fee? That's everything encompassed?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Cornett.
Yep.
I understand there's a video for the Hoover Helps that we should have seen. Mr. Dickerson, if you can pull that up. I'm told it's a couple of minutes long, and then we'll get to our agenda.
"10 years of meeting the basic needs of children that live right here in Hoover, Alabama."
When she was in kindergarten, she noticed that some of those bags that she had packed before, so she recognized what they were going to some of her classmates. So she came home that day and said, "Do we pack those bags?" And I said, "No, our church doesn't pack for them." And she said, "Well, who does? Because I want to help pack those bags."
I cannot think of a better organization that has a heart to serve. And when you talk to Donna and Greg Bishop, you talk to people who truly believe in what they do and will do absolutely anything to help families in need.
We are so eternally grateful for the love and support that you've given to all the students in Hoover, but especially our students in need. Our community is what makes Hoover so special.
Our great firefighters that take some of the needs up to each individual school are the people in the community, like our city leaders and leaders in our school systems that help to identify the needs. And don't forget our volunteers that work tirelessly to make sure that no child goes to bed hungry.
Thank you, Hoover.
We will now move to our consent agenda. Items 1 through 8 are presented tonight as items on the consent that will be read together with one motion and one vote, unless, of course, a member of the body or a member of the public would like any item pulled to the regular agenda. Any member of the body like to remove any item on the consent? Any member of the public here to speak on items 1 through 8? If so, we'll be happy to remove it. Seeing none, Mr. Corley.
Item number 1 approves the payment of bills. Item 2 is the approval of the minutes from the January 30th, 2025 work session and the February 3rd, 2025 meeting. Item 3, resolution number 837625 approves a 050 retail beer off-premises only alcohol license and a 070 retail table wine off-premises only alcohol license for Ruzi LLC doing business as Knox Grocery and Deli located at 5886 LC Road, Hoover, Alabama. Resolution 837725 approves a 040 retail beer on or off premises alcohol license and 060 retail table wine on or off premises alcohol license for HY Management LLC doing business as Kaya Ramen and Tabar located at 950 Inverness Corners, Hoover, Alabama. Resolution 837825 authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a facility use agreement with Hoover Mall Limited LLC for Hoover Public Safety Night Out event in the JCPenney Belk parking lot of the River Chase Galleria. Item number 6, resolution 838025 authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a facility use agreement with Birmingham Host Committee 2025 World Police and Fire Games for use of the Hoover Met Complex and Veterans Park for the 2025 World Police and Fire Games. Resolution 838325 authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a second amendment to the agreement with Regions Bank for an ATM location at the Hoover Met Complex. And resolution 838425 reappoints John Baird as the City of Hoover member of the Personnel Review Board for the term ending February 28th, 2028.
Mr. President, I move for the approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. We will now move to our regular agenda, beginning with item number 9, resolution number 8381-25, Mr. Corley.
This resolution accepts a grant from the Department of Homeland Security and amends the budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025 for the expansion of the National Computer Forensic Institute, or NCFI, at the Hoover Public Safety Center. This resolution further authorizes Mayor Brocato, the City Administrator, the Chief Financial Officer, and the Grant Administrator to execute any and all documents as needed to administer this grant.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 8381-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mayor Brocato.
Thank you. This is a really big project that we've been working on for years, and it involves many moving parts. It involves buildings and relocating. So I want to give you an update on some of the logistics that have been involved before we talk about the grant and then some other aspects of the program. So I'm very excited to provide this update tonight on the NCFI, the National Computer Forensic Institute, and how its presence in our Public Safety Center has influenced space planning efforts throughout the city. While much of what I'll cover with y'all tonight will be very familiar to you, I want to ensure both the council and the public fully understands the impact and the strategic decisions surrounding this initiative. So what is the National Computer Forensic Institute? For the benefit of the public, let me first clarify what NCFI is. This facility is located here in Hoover, Alabama. It's the premier law enforcement training site in the United States. It serves as a critical training hub for police officers, district attorneys, judges, and Secret Service agents. These professionals travel to Hoover to receive advanced training in crime investigation and the use of technology to solve those crimes. Currently, there are 5,000 students per year that come to Hoover for this training, staying anywhere from 1 week to 5 weeks at a time. It has a significant economic impact on our city, contributing to restaurants some $2 million a year spent, hotels $3 million a year, flights $1,200,000 a year, bus and transportation $963,000 a year. So it has about a $7.5 million economic impact and some 26,000 room nights in our hotels here in Hoover. So the long-term goal of NCFI is to expand the training capacity to 10,000 students per year. And we worked hard to support their growth, and we remain committed to ensuring their success while balancing the needs of our own facilities and operations. So with the space planning, with NCFI expansion goals, we've had to reallocate space within the Public Safety Center to meet their needs. This process has been underway for quite some time and has required careful planning and collaboration. Some of the key adjustments include relocating certain personnel within the Public Safety Center to optimize space and considering alternate locations for some functions currently housed in the Public Safety Center to ensure that all departments continue to operate efficiently. These adjustments are not sudden or new. Rather, they are the result of years of planning and discussions to accommodate both NCFI's expansion and our broader city space planning initiatives. While this update is an opportunity to reinforce key points, I want to acknowledge that none of this, I know, is new to you. Over the past several years, you have received weekly updates every Monday on the status of the major projects that we have, including NCFI, the 3021 building, Riverwalk, and our overall space planning efforts. Each of you has had the opportunity to discuss these projects in depth during your monthly meetings with me and city staff. These continuous updates were intended to help you budget for these projects, ensuring that each step forward was made with careful planning and council oversight. We do thank you for your support. It was a lot to take in. Because of the complexity and the long-term planning involved in these projects, I've asked Jehad AL-Dakka to speak at tonight's council meeting. He was intimately involved in all of these projects, and I believe he has the best insight and will help reinforce the planning process and decisions that have been made along the way. So I appreciate your time and continued support, ensuring that Hoover remains a hub for cutting-edge law enforcement training while also maintaining the space and resources needed to serve our growing community effectively. We had a request from Councilman Murphy to talk about these three particular buildings and how that all works together, and it's all basically been an effort for NCFI. So I would ask Jehad if he would come up and give a timeline on that project.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. It's been a while, so.
Welcome back.
Thank you. We'll start on the timeline for the 3021 building. The 3021 building in December 5th, 2022, the council approved a resolution 6845-22 to purchase the 3021 building for $1.9 million. We closed on that building February 15th, 2023. In March 6, 2023, we came before you and you guys approved a resolution to engage with an architect to do space planning, and it was the same resolution 6893-23, and it was with Ahu Architect. They were the architect that we selected to do the fire station as well as the space planning for the 3021 building. June 2nd, 2023, we start our discussion for space planning and possible relocation of city departments to the 3021 building. That includes several options. That include the fire department, police department, engineering, planning and zoning, building inspection, building services. And what the architect at that time did is a space study. They came in and they took kind of what's the current square footage of each department and what is the current square footage for the 3021 building. And we're trying to find the best solution and fit for which department we need to relocate out there. Now, keep in mind, at that time, we had nothing to do, or Riverwalk was not even in the plan. We didn't have that. So August 7, 2023, the council approved Resolution 6980-23, $2 million to renovate the 3021 building. During our conversation and space study with the architect, we asked the architect to come up with a tentative cost for renovating. The 3021 building overall is about 24,000 square feet, but when you take the elevators, the bathrooms, the hallways, everything, you get down to 22,000 approximately square feet that you could renovate. They came back and they said in September 25th, 2023, we received a tentative cost estimate to renovate that building, which was at that time $3.8 million. Now, keep in mind, y'all approved $2 million prior to that. The way they calculated, or the architect calculated the cost estimate, a low square footage cost is $150, a high square footage cost for renovation $250, and he came up around $180. That's per square foot. That's how we come up with the $3.8 million. In November 20th, 2023, the council approved Resolution 8002-23 to execute a lease agreement to include the 30,000 square feet at Riverwalk. So at that time, in November, we have another options to look at, additional square footage. Keep in mind, like the mayor said, we were going that the renovation or the expansion for the NCFI was going from 5,000 square feet or 5,000 students to 10 students. 10,000. They needed double the square footage, if even more. So what we had in there, we wanted to look at how can we accommodate that. So when we start looking at the NCFI expansion, the first city division that we moved out of the PSC was our city revenue. And we created Classroom 7 for them that was self-performed by our building services staff. So that's the first step, and I believe that was October 14, 2021, when we started it, and we completed that October on 2022. Then we renovated Classroom 6, which was a training classroom that was utilized by the court and other city department. And they called it Classroom 6 right after Classroom 7. So the planning for the expansion was going in 2021. At that time, we did not submit the grant. We didn't know what the grant would be because they did not do their application or their funding yet. So we didn't have a whole lot of information exactly on what they would like to have in the expansion. And when we started all of this, the concept that the architect at that time worked on is the NCFI to occupy the first and the second floor on the east side of the PSC, which is where the court is. However, when we looked at it and we looked at their requirement, what is it they want? They want 250 seat for auditorium. They needed a total of 10 classrooms. We are at a 7 classrooms, so there's additional 3 classrooms to accommodate 35 students. They also needed some offices for, I believe, 20 additional offices, admin offices, plus the common areas and all that. So all of that stuff, when we looked at it with the architect, we realized, okay, the court, relocating the court first is gonna be costly. We will not be able to do that. Second, their requirement will not fit where the court is. So at that time, which is, I believe, October of 2023, the concept that the architect has done to begin with changed and said we could do an expansion outside the building. So that's how we came out with the expansion on the east side of the parking lot of the PSC. In December 14, 2023, we met with the Alabama Department of Revenue. Now, we knew they were going to relocate. There was no way around it. The NCFI needed the whole space. So we met with them, we talked to them, and at that time, we had options to look at the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk is an open concept space. That's exactly what they have currently at the PSC. So when we presented them with that idea, they were very receptive. They went and looked at it, they liked it, and that's where the shift and the circumstances has changed of how we look at the space planning. So we have ran to a few obstacles through the process trying to get them there, but as of December 2024, we got verbal agreement from them that the space will fit where they need to go on Riverwalk, and there would very minor renovation, and we were able to get the developer on board as well with that. So currently they are very occupied with their relocation or their move to their central building down in Montgomery, and hopefully by March or April, we'll be able to have an agreement to go ahead and get the agreement for them to move to Riverwalk. I mean, that's the general information. That's the timeline. If there's any other question, if there's anything I could answer for you, I'll be glad to. That's correct. Yes, sir. Currently, when we purchased a 3021 building, we need space. We needed some space, additional space to relocate city departments. But once we were able to work with Riverwalk, and Aldor or Alabama Department of Revenue are going to Riverwalk, the need for the 3021 building is, we don't need it anymore. So that's why currently there's no need for us to have that building, because we know the solution to take Alabama Department of Revenue to Riverwalk, and that will not affect anybody or any city departments at the PSC. It does, okay. That if y'all decide to sell the building, when we purchased it, it was 1.9. As far as I remember, I was told it appraises at a 3.7. 3.7. Yeah.
Any comments from Mr. AL-Dakka?
Just one, I want to thank Councilor Murphy wherever he is tonight. He's just coaching a basketball game. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. AL-Dakka, thank you for coming back.
Yes, sir.
Very good. We have a motion and second for the approval of item number 9. Any other comments from the body? Any comments or questions from the public tonight? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item 10 is resolution number 8382-25. Mr. Corley.
This resolution authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a professional services agreement with Lemoyne Company LLC for program management services for the NCFI expansion project.
Mr. President, I move for the approval of resolution number 8382-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions from the body? Any comments from the public tonight? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item 11, resolution number 8359-25. Mr. Corley.
This resolution approves the filing of amended and restated articles of incorporation of the Stadium Trace Village Improvement District as set forth in the petition filed with the council to expand the number of directors from 3 to 5. The resolution further appoints or reappoints the following individuals as directors of the Stadium Trace Village Improvement District for the terms noted. Reappoints Jim Massengill for the term ending November 15th, 2029. Appoints Zeal Zaveri for the term ending November 15th, 2029. Appoints Chris Odom for the term ending on November 15th, 2030. Appoints Jerry Sager for the term ending November 15th, 2030. And reappoints Will Kadish for the term ending November 15th, 2031 upon expiration of his current term on November 15th, 2025.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 8359-25.
Second.
There's a motion and a second for approval. Any comments from the body? Any comments tonight from the public? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. We'll now have two public hearings and a potential vote, beginning with item number 12, resolution number 8369-25. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants conditional use approval with the conditions shown in the attached Exhibit 2 for a family entertainment center for the property located at 3313 Lorna Road, Hoover, Alabama.
Mr. Driver, do you have a motion on that item?
Yes, Mr. President. I move to approve resolution number, I have to get my glasses. Resolution number 8369-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We will open the public hearing and ask if there's a member of the body who would like to comment or question item 12. Any member of the public here to speak on the conditional use application? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item number 13, resolution number 8370-25. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants conditional use approval with conditions shown in the attached Exhibit 2 for the establishment of Sticks and Stones Cocktail Bar for the property located at 5852 Elsie Road, Hoover, Alabama.
I'm ready this time, Mr. President.
Good.
I move to approve resolution number 8370-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We'll open the public hearing for this conditional use. Any member of the body have a question or comment about this item? Any member of the public here to speak on the conditional use application? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. That brings us to the end of our agenda. I know on behalf of the council, I want to congratulate the newest Fire Chief of the Year, as established and named by the Alabama Association of Fire Chiefs last week. The Alabama Association of Fire Chiefs has chosen the city of Hoover for many years to hold their annual conference, and last week they named our chief as the top chief in the state. So would you join me in congratulating Chief Kettner? Any other comments from the body tonight?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I know I threw Councilor Murphy under the bus there, so I believe his son is in the playoffs in basketball, and Councilor Murphy is coaching his team, so good luck out there.
Very good. Any other comments? Any member of the public like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
KT Thomas, Scout Creek. Another stormwater letter to the mayor. This one was January of 2010. Like, why a 15-year-old letter? Because the stormwater management issues in that letter that went to the mayor of Hoover 15 years ago contains the same issues that we're continuing to deal with right now. Nothing has been done for 15 years. The city has not addressed the requirements of its 2007 NPDES permit, which was addressed in that letter, and has not remediated the weaknesses in the plans or the failures that were noted. The agencies involved and the residents involved trust the city to do the right thing, to do their due diligence, and that is not what is happening. In fact, the city's going backward in stormwater management instead of forward. Recall the letter that I mentioned a month ago now, I guess, to the mayor from ADEM, dated November 7th, 2024. The letter asked the city of Hoover to do 3 things in its new MS4 report that was just published on the city website, the new report, and the city didn't address the 3 things that ADEM asked them to do. For example, ADEM offered them the opportunity to either delete or update materials in there. They did not update the map, including receiving waters. They still focused on city streets and private properties. ADEM told them not to do that. Why are we provoking ADEM? It makes no sense. The thing that is really important here is to note that the city only had to delete to comply, but they instead chose to redo things, which took time and resources. The map focused on private properties and didn't recognize the role of private property in stormwater management. So let's think about this. If you have a utility easement running through your property and it has an Alabama power line running through there and a storm comes along and knocks it down, would Alabama Power tell you, oh, that's on private property, it's not our problem, and expect you to fix it? Of course not. The same thing is true of a stormwater conveyance that's part of the system that brings things to the waters that take up our stormwater. So private property is not a very good use of resources because those resources do belong to the city, even though they pretend that they don't. How many of you all would be happy if you had to go out and dip into the creeks of Hoover with your water bottles and drink that? Clean water is a public purpose. Thank you.
It's new. Any other comments tonight? I want to thank Commissioner Josh Sisk from Shelby County for being here tonight. Commissioner, always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for your attendance. We're adjourned.